Good day to all of you kids. I'm teacher Raymond. So today I'm going to be your storyteller. We have an exciting story in store for you today. The title of the story is The Secret of the Long Hair. Our story begins like this. When the Israelites began disobeying God, God decided to punish the Israelites by sending the fearsome Philistines to oppress them. The Israelites didn't like the Philistines. They were wicked and cruel. They often attacked the Israelite villages and stole the people's possessions. But the Father still loved the people of Israel, and He had a plan to save them. That plan included a boy named Samson. He would grow up to be a mighty warrior who would help save the Israelites from the Philistines. One day, an Israelite woman was busy in the fields when God sent an angel to see her. "Listen," said the angel. "Do not drink any wine or eat anything unclean. Soon you will have a baby boy. He will be a Nazirite, a person set apart to serve God. Do not cut his hair." The woman could hardly believe her ears. She hurried to see her husband, whose name was Manoah. "A stranger came to me," she said. "His face was fearsome like an angel. He said that we will soon have a child." Later that year, Manoah's wife had a baby boy. She named him Samson, just as the angel had told them. As Samson grew older, he became big and strong, because his mother had been told not to cut his hair. His hair grew thick and long. Even though Samson was set apart for God, he didn't always obey Him. One day, when he was grown up, he met a beautiful Philistine woman from the village of Timnah. He said to his father, "I want to marry this girl. Get her for me." Samson's parents were shocked. God had told the Hebrews not to marry these people or copy their ways. Why must you marry a Philistine? They have their own customs and gods. But Samson would not listen. Together, Samson and his parents set out to meet the Philistine girl and make plans for the wedding. Near Timnah, they came to a vineyard bursting with grapes. Because of his Nazirite vow, Samson could not eat or drink anything made from grapes, including raisins and wine. He took a different dirt path than his parents. Suddenly, a young lion leaped out from the vines. It slashed at Samson with its sharp teeth and claws. But the Spirit of God came over Samson, and he was not afraid. Using his bare hands, he grabbed the lion and tore it into pieces like a young goat. But he kept it a secret and didn't tell his parents what he had done. A while later, Samson returned along the same path to marry his bride. When he passed the dead lion, he saw bees had made a hive inside its body. It was filled with delicious sweet honey. He scooped the honey out of the lion and ate it all up. Again, he didn't tell anyone what he had done. Later that week in Timnah, the wedding celebrations began. Samson's father-in-law invited 30 young men to join them. To pass the time away, Samson told them a riddle. Out of the eater came food. Out of the strong came sweetness. "If you can solve the riddle," said Samson, "I will give you 30 sets of fine clothes. If you cannot solve it, you must give me 30 sets of clothing." For 3 days, the young men tried to solve the riddle, but no matter how hard they tried, they could not find the answer. So they went to Samson's bride and said, "This Israelite is making us look like fools. Get us the answer, or we will burn down your father's house and you in it." Samson's frightened bride threw herself in front of him. "You must give me the answer to the riddle," she cried. Samson's answer was no. But after a few days, Samson's ears grew tired of listening to her cry. He gave her the answer, and in turn, she told the wedding guests. The guests laughed all evening at their good fortune. They went to Samson and said, "What is sweeter than honey? And what is stronger than a lion?" Samson's eyes blazed with anger. He knew he had been tricked. "If you hadn't asked my wife, you would not know the answer to my riddle," he thundered. The Spirit of God came over Samson again. Flexing his bulging muscles, he marched to a nearby town, killed 30 Philistines, and gave their clothes to the wedding guests. And Samson went back home without his bride. When the time had come for the harvest, Samson went back to Timnah to find his bride. She was married to someone else already. "You ran away, so I gave my daughter to another man," said her father. Samson roared in anger. How dare his bride marry someone else? He decided to teach the Philistines a lesson. Catching 300 foxes, he put them in pairs and tied burning torches to their tails. The foxes raced through the fields in a panic, setting fire to everything in sight. All the wheat was burned to blackened ashes. Samson then fled to an Israelite town and hid in a rocky cave. Determined to get Samson, the Philistines sent soldiers to attack the Israelites in order to find Samson. "Help us capture this brute and we will leave you alone," they said to the Israelites. The Israelites quickly agreed. They were tired of the trouble Samson was causing. The Israelites knew Samson was big and strong. They sent 3,000 men to the cave to find him. When they reached the cave, they said to Samson, "What are you doing to us? The Philistines are our rulers. We must hand you over to them before you cause more trouble." They tied him up with new ropes and marched him back to meet the Philistines. As soon as the Philistines saw Samson, they gave a great shout and ran toward him with their swords and spears. But Samson was ready to fight. Tearing the ropes from his arms, he found a donkey jawbone lying on the road and used it to kill 1,000 soldiers. The Philistines were no match for the mighty Samson. For many years, Samson judged the Israelites. Judges were military commanders who made big decisions and helped rule the people of Israel. It was an important job, but Samson couldn't stay out of trouble for long. Sometime later, Samson fell in love with a beautiful Philistine woman named Delilah. When the Philistine chiefs heard about Delilah, they rubbed their hands together with excitement. They knew all about Delilah's wicked ways. "Now is our chance to capture Samson," they said. Jumping into their chariots, the chiefs sped to Delilah's house to see her. "Next time Samson visits you, trick him into telling you the secret of his strength," they said. "We promise to give you lots of money if you do this." Delilah's eyes lit up. She liked the idea of earning such riches. She gladly agreed to help the chiefs. They hid inside Delilah's house and waited for Samson. The Philistine chiefs did not have to wait long. That night, Samson came to Delilah's house to see her. She curled up beside him and smiled. "Samson, what makes you so strong?" she asked softly. "If someone wanted to tie you up, how could they do it?" Samson was too clever to be trapped by Delilah. He knew that if he cut his hair, God might take away his strength. So instead, he told Delilah, "If you tie me up with 7 fresh bowstrings that have never been dried, I will become weak." When the Philistine chiefs heard what Samson said, they found 7 fresh bowstrings that had not been dried. They brought this to Delilah, and she tied Samson up with them when he was sleeping. "Hurry, the Philistines have come for you," Delilah cried. But the Philistines were no match for Samson. He leaped to his feet, snapping the bowstrings like twigs. "This is not the secret of Samson's strength," they muttered angrily. "You are making a fool of me and not telling me the truth," said Delilah. "Tell me how I can tie you up." Samson lied to her again, saying, "If you tie me with new ropes that have never been used, I will become weak." Soon as Samson fell asleep, Delilah did just that. "Samson, the Philistines have come for you," she said. But before the Philistines could grab him, Samson jumped to his feet and broke free from the ropes. Delilah did not give up. "Do not lie to me," she said, stamping her feet. "If you love me, tell me how to tie you up." Samson's eyebrows shot up. He He stared at her suspiciously. "If you weave 7 locks of my hair into a loom, I will become weak," he said. That night, Delilah lured Samson to sleep. Then she took 7 locks of hair and wove them into her loom. "Samson, the Philistines are coming," she said. "Hurry!" Samson woke from his sleep, pulled his hair loose from the loom, and slipped out of the house. Philistines fretted and fumed. "This is not the secret of Samson's strength," they said, shaking their fists. Delilah became even more determined to find the answer. Day after day, she asked Samson to tell her the secret of his strength. Samson grew tired of her bothering him. Finally, he told her the truth. "Because of my Nazirite vow, I have never cut my hair. If you cut my hair, then I will be weak like other men." Delilah knew Samson was telling the truth. She sent a messenger to the Philistine chief saying, "Come back one more time. Samson has told me the secret of his strength." The Philistine chiefs were excited to learn about Samson's secret. They jumped in their chariots and raced to Delilah's house with bags of money. "Now is our chance to capture Samson once and for all," they cried. That evening, Samson went to sleep. Delilah asked a man to shave off his hair. Then she began teasing Samson. "The Philistines have come for you," she whispered in his ear. Samson woke up and tried to jump to his feet, but this time he could not break free. His power was gone. The Philistines burst into his rooms, poked out his eyes, and dragged him away in chains as their prisoner. Samson became the most famous prisoner in the land. Every day, the Philistines forced him to work, grinding grain at the prison. Every night, they locked him in a cold, empty cell so he could not escape. But slowly, Samson's hair began to grow back. One day, the Philistines gathered at their temple to offer a sacrifice to their fish god Dagon and to celebrate their good fortune. "Our God has given Samson into our hands," they said. "Fetch him so that we can mock this Israelite." Samson was put in front of all the people at the temple. Full of faith, Samson prayed one last time, "God, give me strength so I can take revenge on the Philistines." Immediately, the Spirit of God returned to Samson, giving him great power. Taking a deep breath, he stretched out his arms and placed both hands on the pillars supporting the temple. "Let me die with the Philistines," he shouted. He pushed against the pillars with all his might. The roof of the temple crashed down in a great cloud of dust. All around was crashing and smashing and breaking. Everyone at the temple, including the Philistine chiefs and Samson, died that day. God had kept his promise. He had used his mighty warrior Samson to free the Israelites from the Philistines. I hope you're all fascinated by the story of Samson. But wait! In every story, there's always a lesson to be learned. What are the lessons that we can learn from Samson's story? First, we need to show respect for all the gifts and blessings that we receive from God. In Samson's case, it was clear that Samson showed little appreciation or no respect at all for the gifts God has given him. It was his great strength. Samson was reminded not to cut his long hair, or else his great strength will leave him. It was a vow that he should have kept. Being a Nazirite, which is someone set apart by God or chosen by God, but Samson failed to do so. Second, we need God's presence with us if we are to be effective servants of God. In Samson's case, he was chosen by God to protect the Israelites. But however, he can no longer do so. When his strength leaves him, he cannot defend the Israelites, more so, fight against the Philistines. Similarly for us, if we want to be an effective servant of God, we must remember to keep our promise, and obey God always, so that God's presence and strength will always be upon us. So there you go, kids. That's our story for today. Thank you for watching and listening, and have a blessed Sunday to all of you.